the Wiley Vision studio in Spokane, Washington. The Stephen James Wiley Show.
Oh, what a glorious day. It's the Stephen James Wiley Show. You know, I was trying to find a vintage ad, like an old, because I like finding them. I found a bunch of these old Doritos ads, and nothing really hit the spot though. So I didn't add an ad to this episode, and that's okay. You know what I'm sipping on right now is a V8 with some humic and fulvic acid. It looks like mud or soil that some guy probably dug out of his backyard, put in a nice little bottle, and sold it to me for $40 on Amazon. There is something about V8 that really does make you feel like you're standing up straighter. Remember those ads where you were like, the guy was crooked, and then he has the V8, and he's standing up straight? I love that. How are you? How's your day? My day is fantastic. I went to Starbucks this fine morning, where everybody knows my name. They love me there, and I love them. I finally got the Starbucks app. I am now collecting my points. I took the blood oath and have joined their cult, and it's got tremendous values. Actually, it's not that good of a deal, but if you go there enough, you know, you do get stuff. You do get things. And I did some writing. Most of my Christmas shopping is done. How about you? Hopefully that's the case. And then my good buddy Jim Budnick, who's going to be on the show, not today, but in later this week, he and I hung out for a bit. And I'm sprucing up a short film script. It's called Happy Shandling Day. It's very funny. It's about 18 pages, and I'm submitting it to a screenwriting contest today through Final Draft, just for fun. It's the last day to submit, and I just saw the email, and I was like, why not? I'll just send it in. Costs like $15. They will probably not call me or tell me anything useful, but sometimes it's fun to cast your stone into the lake and see if it gets a ripple. Gets a ripple? Well, what's today about? What is today ever about? Today is about books. I've been meaning to go and kind of review what I've been listening to, reading over the last, I guess 8 months. And funny story. So I have a pile of books next to my bed. So we'll start off. I'll tell you what I've been, what I've had next to my bed. I usually have a stack of books next to my bed. It doesn't mean I'm reading them every night, but they're there. So I have The Yoga of Jesus by Paramahansa Yogananda. I've finished reading it. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you're not going to like it at all. I also have some poetry of Leonard Cohen, Every Man's Library, Pocket Poets. And it's just random work he did, stuff he wrote. And I've been listening to his biography on Audible. Not his autobiography. I don't think he did one, but it's been very interesting, very encouraging in many ways. I mean, he lived a very different life than I'm living. Lot more hard drugs, put it that way. And then I have this stack of books though, and they're just sitting there. I don't really think much about it, and I buy books often, or I download them on Audible, as you know. So I don't really think much about it, and I'm sitting there talking to my daughter. I'm laying on my bed. She walks in. We're chatting about something. My daughter's 16, and she's just staring at the spines of these books. And all of a sudden, she reads aloud, The Multi-Orgasmic Man, huh? And I realized I had purchased this book by, who wrote it? By Mantak Chia and Douglas Abrams. And more than 400,000 copies sold. I'm not the only person who bought this, all right? And I just look at her and she's like, I said, yeah, I'd like to get good at that. I said, I bought the women's one for your mom, too. That's what we do in here. And, it kind of took the edge off it. It was fun. We had a nice laugh, and she didn't bring it up again. So that's always a fun one. Other book I'm reading, it's called The Third Door. That is not a butt sex joke. That's actually the book. It's not about sex at all. It's The Mindset of Success by Alex Benayan, which also led me to a book that I picked up on Audible, which I'll get to there, that one of his business buddies wrote. It's actually very interesting. And then I have the Voice of Babaji, trilogy on Kriya Yoga, which is long. Some of it's good, some of it's boring as hell. But, I'm like, I don't know, an eighth of the way into it. It's massive. It's like the size of the Bible. And then I have this incredible book called Make Your Life a 10. Yes, that is the dumbest title. That title immediately makes you think, wow, you must be living a sad life, Steve. Really hurting there, buddy, huh? Make Your Life a 10 by Stuart Lichtman. Sounds Jewish. I don't know if he is Jewish, but he sounds Jewish. I hope he's Jewish. My phone's making jingle jangle noises. It's a phenomenal book. If you are familiar with internal family systems therapy, there's some crossover. I'm not going to dive into it because it's deep. It sounds stupid. As I said, the title is not good, but what's in it is pretty deep. There's a lot of homework. Like, it's not a casual read. I have done a lot of the homework. Me and one of my dear friends, he and I kind of worked on it together. Carlos Jones recommended this book to me, and Carlos actually did like the higher dollar class with Stuart, like live stuff. And if you hear Stuart talk, he does some of his Audible stuff. He doesn't have anything on Audible, but he has this like his like 2003 website where you can go listen to things. And if you buy the book, you get access to his website. So you get to access all this stuff, right? But when you hear him talk, he talks like this. And he'll be reading his book very slowly, very droll. I don't know if he has an accent. I'm giving him an accent he doesn't have. He sounds like Churchill. Anyhow, it's low and it's boring as hell. But it's invaluable. Some of you will think it's nuts and stupid. Some of you will be like, holy shit, this is fantastic. So that I can't recommend enough. Those are the books sitting on my bedside table, right? And then I have my Audible, which Audible's my go-to. That's where I live. That's where I breathe. It's where I drive. I love to drive. It's like riding the old horse, right? When I'm not on the phone in my car, which I do enjoy being on the phone while I drive. That's another thing I do while I drive. Phone calls. Can I just say, complete rabbit trail, but let's just do it. There is a whole cultural thing going on, and maybe I've discussed this before, I don't know, where people feel like you need to give them a heads up via text that you might want to call and talk on the phone. And there's, in some circles, hopefully no circles I'm close to, because I don't want to be close to them. Hold on, I need more V8 with my humic and fulvic acid. Oh, sweet Lord, that's good. There's a whole school of thought out there, in some circles, that feel like phone calls in general are unnecessary and are flat out rude. They're an intrusion. And can I just say, please don't be those assholes. I don't want to be that asshole. A phone call is a personal, wonderful, connected experience of actual, real communication where you hear inflection, you feel the essence of that person coming through this one form of communication. Text messaging is not communication. It is bullshit. It's useful, and bullshit often is, but it is not the appropriate way for humans to communicate and express anything related to the heart. And I'm not talking about sentimentality or like, oh, I love you. I'm talking about humanness. There's nothing human about texting. And we've reduced the human experience for a lot of us to texting or social media. And it's absolute garbage, and it's ruining the whole way things work. And I know you're like, well, some people have anxiety issues. Well, get the frick over it. Like, embrace being human. You didn't come here to live in a hole and text out of it. Like, be here, man. Do the thing. Have a long phone call with a stranger. I mean, I don't take that too far. I don't call strangers. But there are people I call on the phone and I end up having a lovely time talking to them, even though I didn't know them. I had a real reason to call them, maybe for whatever service or business or whatever. There's those 1-900 numbers you can call with the ladies. No, they don't have those anymore. They're very expensive anyway. But that's a hell of a lot better than texting with a strange lady on your phone. I've never done either, but I'm just saying there's something going on and I'm tired of it and I'm not doing it anymore. Also, I deleted my Instagram account. And I think I had done that when I talked last, but I am now past a week. I actually had, what do you call them? Withdrawal. I had some withdrawal where I had this hook in my guts of, oh, that felt good though. I liked that. I miss Bridget Kingsley. She's an actress. Her and her husband, they make like B movies and then they make Hallmark type movies. And she has really enormous bosoms that she paid a lot of money for. But I miss, the memes my friends would send me. My buddy Tony sending me things about the fake moon landing. All the things, right? And then I got past it. I got over the hump. I don't know that I'll ever go back because I'm just trying to embrace a more analog life that is here. I'm not telling anybody about this episode today. I didn't tell anyone about the last episode. If you heard any of this, it's only because you give a dang and you somehow stayed connected to what's going on Spotify or Apple or my Substack, although I didn't post any of this on Substack. I will at some point because that's one way to connect. But I'm going old school. I'm going, if I could have a newsletter that I sent in the mail, but sending things in the mail is insanely expensive. But I'm tempted to do that. I'm tempted to just go completely the other way. So phone calls are out, right? It's rude to call people out of the blue. Well, guess what? I'm going to call you out of the blue. If I got your phone number, I'm going to do it. Just to chap your hide. I'm just kidding. But I will call people. That's what I do. I don't text people. Hey, how you doing? I call people. And hopefully they appreciate that because that's out of love. I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass or a retard. That's real communication. Texting is crap. It's 2D. It's rubbish. Okay. Thank you for enduring that. But that's been in my guts. And I keep saying, and it's probably a soapbox. I just stand on it every now and then and just yell at the world. But let's get back to books. So that's what I have sitting by my bedside is those books. The Third Door book, he became friends with this guy named Elliot Bisnow, the Alex Benayan. And Morgan got me that book because she was like, God, Steve, you're so depressed. Get your head out of your ass. No, I'm just kidding. But she thought it'd be inspiring, and it was. So then I got this book on Audible called Make No Small Plans. I'm halfway through it. It's like 10 hours. Elliot Bisnow and then his associates, they all wrote it together. And Elliot narrates it. And it's a fascinating story of how they created these conferences out of nothing that ultimately led to them, hiring Bill Clinton and bringing in all these leaders and Barack Obama hiring them for their young entrepreneurs thing. And it's really fun Wild West stories of these young guys just hustling their asses off. They're not married. They don't got kids. They're just all living together, just busting their butts doing stuff. It's really fun stuff. So those kind of go together. That's why I kind of brought that up. But the let's go back here. Audible. Well, you pay for Audible every month. You get a new credit, right? So your credits build up, and there you go. So I started the Chaos book by Tom O'Neill and Dan Piepenbring. I'm killing that one. Narrated by Kevin Stillwell. And I am like an hour into it. It is dark. I need to listen to the whole thing. Tony Allen, my good buddy, he recommended it, and Joe Rogan's talked about it. It's like the flavor of the last couple of years, right? And apparently it just gets bananas. But it starts out just chronicling the Manson murders, which are just grisly. I don't like that stuff. It's just evil. Just straight up evil, man. But apparently it goes some places, and I've still got to go back to it. But I don't know. I don't know when I will, but I do need to. I have another book I haven't listened to yet. It's called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. My buddy Aaron Allen recommended that. I will probably get back to it. I started it, and it sounds pretty interesting. I have an Essential Guide to Kriya Yoga Practice by Ryan Kurzak. It's really boring, and I don't know that I'll ever go back and listen to it again. But I like Ryan. I appreciate where he's coming from. Improv Wisdom. Don't Prepare, Just Show Up by Patricia Ryan Madsen. Justin Sabastinas, recommended this to me, and it is wonderful. It's wonderful in short bursts. You don't have to listen to it at length. It's super useful, very liberating. And it's her talking about doing improv and having an improv troupe or whatever you call it, and how that translates into life. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it so far. I'm about a third into that guy. The Power of Your Mind by Edgar Cayce, narrated by Scott Pollock. It is a brutal listen. Edgar Cayce was a new age wackadoo back in the day who would channel things, and everything he channeled came through in King James language, like the King James Bible. But he would accurately give people mystical information about their lives. And he would do it that was his life. It's what he did. People would write him letters, and he would go into a meditation state and write them a letter back. And that's what he did. And these are a lot of the things he wrote. In the church I grew up in, there was a lady. She was the secretary of our church when I was a kid, and then she retired. But her and her husband went to the church until the end. And she was one of those people who was in my world, because I was a little kid, she was always old to me. Like, it's amazing how long people live after you already think they're old. And I keep telling my friends this. They think they're old. They're 45, they're 48, whatever. I'm like, you could live another 40 years. That's almost twice as long as you've been an adult. But regardless, she was always this old lady to me, but she would sometimes give prophetic words in our church services. And a prophetic word, if you're not familiar with that, is somebody who's speaking on behalf of God, essentially, or another dimension. And they're giving insight into maybe something that's going on for somebody's life personally, or the church, or a group of people, etc. And it's usually like a word of wisdom or kind of a future knowing of something, right? But whenever she did it, she was the only person I ever knew who did this. She always spoke as if she was reading out of the King James Bible. And theest thou goest into the, really interesting. I have no idea why, but she was never wrong. Everything she ever prophesied, on the money. As far as I know. I mean, nothing ever struck me as off. Kind of cool, right? Or totally weird and retarded, if depending on who you are. You might think this is nuts, but I don't care. Anyhow, Edgar Cayce. I wouldn't recommend it, honestly. I don't know if I'll ever go back and listen to it. He's fascinating, but the book is rough sledding, and I can't return it now because I let it go too long. Maybe I can return it. Maybe I'll try to return it. You can return books on Audible. If you get too frisky with it, they'll shut you down. I've done that. But you can return some books, and I might return Edgar Cayce. One I have not started, Tom Selleck's memoir, You Never Know. Written by Tom, narrated by Tom. I have not listened to it at all. I love Tom Selleck. Who doesn't like Tom Selleck? Yeah. Another one, Behold the Spirit, A Study in the Necessity of Mystical Religion by Alan Watts. I have not started it. I don't know if it's any good. We'll find out. Another book I have not started. I had like a bunch of credits, and I just went nuts one day. The Wages of Destruction, The Making and Breaking of the Nazi Economy by Adam Tooze. I've not started it. It's 30 hours long. Sweet God. I might return it. I don't know if I'll ever listen to that. Next one, haven't listened to it. Assyria, The Rise and Fall of the World's First Empire. I do want to listen to this. It's 15 hours. I also have the Bhagavad Gita. I will listen to this. I started it. I'll get to it. This one's a good one. It's by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. The Courage to be Disliked. How to Free Yourself, Change Your Life, and Achieve Real Happiness. I really like it. It's not as good as I was hoping it would be. Like, it's not blowing my brain up, but it's good. I'm ceasing to see the whole courage to be disliked part of it. Like, it's not like there's this thing where they're like, and here's how you find the courage to be disliked. When those assholes tell you they don't like you, you XYZ. There's none of that. I've not really heard the phrase yet. So it doesn't matter, though. It is good. There was a freebie, an Audible original, the filmmakers, Cameron Crowe, Ron Howard, Amy Heckerling, Richard Linklater. I have not started it, but it was free, so I downloaded it. Taoist Secrets of Love Cultivating Male Sexual Energy. Now, it sounds like I'm just a sex hound, and I suppose as a dude I kind of am, but what I'm really getting to is there is a whole spiritual aspect to sexual energy, and that's what like tantric stuff and all those guys are talking about. It's not like, hey, you can have sex for 4 hours solid. I mean, that's a nice idea, but honestly, it sounds exhausting. Sexual energy is creation energy. It's an energy beyond that of just sex, right? But we dumb it down, especially in Western culture. We're just like, hey, screwing and whatever. And that's missing so much. There's so much more depth to that energy than just having sex. So there's that. I have not started listening to it yet. Why? Because I'm listening to my multi-orgasmic book next to my bedside, or reading it, right? Anyhow, For a New Liberty, The Libertarian Manifesto by Murray N. Rothbard. This book is awesome. I'm listening to it slowly because he gives a ton of history, like a ton of history, and he proposes I'm reading you just a little bit of it, proposes a once and for all escape from the two major political parties, the ideologies they embrace, and their central plans for using state power against people. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that I believe that that's what the Democrats or Republican parties are trying to do. I don't think they would say that, but I am wide open to learning more about this point of view and learning the history of the various labels that we're aware of. For example, the word progressive and the word conservative, and what those things have meant over the last 300 years, 400 years. It's fascinating. Progressive has been the label of pretty much every possible left to right ideology you can think of. Conservatives, or liberty-minded, what we would call conservatives now, used to be 150 years ago, they were called progressive. Maybe it's 200 years ago, I don't know. But that was their title. They were progressive because it was a whole, the idea of men and women being empowered as individuals and not subject to kings, not subject to an all-powerful, dictator or whatever. That was not a commonly held thing, or the all-powerful church in the case of the Dark Ages. So it's cool. I have a ton. It's a long book. I have a long way to go. But For a New Liberty, the Libertarian Manifesto, Murray and Rothbard, give it a chance. Even if you're a big freaking lefty or you're a big hardcore right-winger, it'll challenge your brain. It challenged mine so far, and I love it because it feels fresh. Like, hey, that's a flavor I've never tasted. And I like that. Even if it doesn't change everything about me, I love having some new ingredients thrown in my political and social economic stew. That's, my personal thing. So anyhow, then I got the Make No Small Plans, Elliot Bisnow. And then I just snagged a couple of the Sadhguru books. He is the bearded Indian fella you've probably seen on Instagram or whatever your social media or YouTube thing. He always says, "Is it not so? Is it not so?" But he'll say something wise. Is it not so? And he's kind of a modern day Yogananda type guy, or Gandhi or whatever. I mean, he doesn't have to go try to overthrow the British, but he's a cool guy. I'm kind of sold on, and he's predominantly functions out of India. He's India centric, but he does actually have a big thing out in Tennessee. He bought like 1,000 acres, or his organization, and they have a meditation facility out there. And I might go visit. I've gone to Yogananda's temple in Hollywood. I've been to his place that he started in Phoenix, and just sat there and meditated with strangers. It was wonderful. So I have 2 of his books. The first one's called Karma, A Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Destiny. I've not started that. The next one is called Death, Only for Those Who Shall Die, A Yogi's Guide to Living, Dying, and the Beyond. And I am devouring and listening to this book. It is so profoundly liberating and wise feeling, and the perspective it gives you on each day is beautiful. And I cannot say enough. It sounds morbid, like, why are you listening to a book on death, Steve? What the hell's wrong with you? No, there's a liberation to it, because this life is short. And many of you know this. You've lived long enough to see people die younger than you thought they should have, or at least before you wanted them to. That happened to me with my mom, and even I had a sister, and she passed away when she was 2 months old, and I was only 3+ years old, and so I don't have any memory of it. But that's a sister, and it's even just weird to say it out loud. So it's death only for those who shall die. Well, that's all of us. So I cannot recommend this book enough. It's just really, it's doing something for me, put it that way. So you might find, and I'm excited to listen to his Karma book as well. He has a ton of other books. I wasn't really aware of any of this, so it's kind of a cool thing to dive in and read, because it's interesting, because a lot of these Eastern guys who I appreciate, I have a tremendous respect for. I feel like when you incorporate East and West, there's a lot of beautiful things in both, And obviously, being a Westerner, as I am, I miss out on a lot of what's beautiful in Eastern culture, and especially in mystical culture, and even Eastern Orthodox Christianity. It's much more mystical than Western Christianity, evangelical, especially evangelical Christianity or Catholicism. And as you can guess, I really like that. So I'm all about it. So, well, that's kind of the gist of what I've got today. I wanted to share those things. I appreciate the hell out of you listening to my show. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a tremendous sense of freedom about what I'm doing here going forward. It's fun to want to do a show and hope people like it and listen to it, but it's also, and I still hope for that in whatever respect, but it's a challenging thing to embrace your own voice and your own thoughts and who you really are, and be willing to share that without a guard or a filter, because you don't want to offend people or you don't want to be judged by people. But my bag of fucks to give is kind of empty at this point. My give a damn's busted. And it doesn't mean I want to be a dick or offensive, but I just feel very free to be me. And I really like who I am, and I like who you are. And I hope that you feel that kind of freedom, because what I'm doing is relatively inconsequential here. I have a very small audience, and I don't, maybe I'll buy some ads on Spotify, but I don't have any interest in being a big social media person. Maybe I'll find the courage to, go talk like this on social media, but that doesn't feel organic to me or how I'd like to hang. There's something crass about that space that I don't appreciate, especially with AI jumping in and you don't know what you can believe or trust. And I'm just not sure I want to participate in that ecosystem at all going forward, ever again. And it might make me a dinosaur in some respect, but I'm okay. I'm okay being called those names. It really doesn't bother me. And I'll call your phone and tell you about it, because I don't. Oh God. But it is what it is. And I hope you feel free and that you're able to live your life today without any judgment of yourself. Be free. Love who you are. You're unique and beautiful, and so am I. Even with my my bald head. That, let's face it, it's a pretty beautiful bald head. I'll say it. But anyhow, I love you. Have a great holiday season. And I'll be back when I'm back. Alrighty. Peace and love.